Buenos días, buenas tardes o buenas noches, depende de la hora. En este video voy a explicar cómo vamos a realizar el último proyecto del semestre y del año para la unidad 6. Entonces, para este proyecto vas a ampliar uno de tus proyectos previos. Entonces, vas a enfocarte en el proyecto de la unidad 4 o, o de la unidad 5. Pues si estás haciendo el mismo proyecto, vas a continuar con este proyecto. Y para hacerlo, para ampliarlo, debes describir cómo era, tal vez hace 100 años o antes de un evento determinado por ti. Entonces, y también en esta unidad vas a aprender qué significa cómo era. Pues voy a explicar en inglés. So, como era, it's a new phrase that we have not learned yet, but that is going to be our grammatical focus for this unit. It's another way to speak about the past. In English, we use multiple multi-word phrases to describe this and different essences in the past, whereas in Spanish, we just use different endings on the same verbs. So, como era is in generally translated to how did it used to be? So when we think of the phrasing used to be, that's going to be our imperfect, which is the grammar point we're really going to be focusing in on. So as you're starting to think about what am I going to be adding to, think about what you have and choose, if you have two different projects, think about which one has a greater difference from what used to be and what you're looking at now. That can really talk in there, and you can choose any aspect of that, something that's interesting. So really your research for this portion is going to be looking for something in the past. It can be maybe there was a significant event and you want to look at what did it used to be like in one or two of your countries compared to what it is now or after the event. That is actually a really good one to think about if you have that available to you. If not, it can be one of these things like with technology changes and whatnot, then with awareness, with growing populations. I'm thinking of some of the different things that we've been looking at. How did it used to be before electricity? How did people prepare themselves, and what was transportation like? Before cities really grew. I mean, you can really go far back. I know that could be one of them. Maybe there was a natural disaster. What was it like before the natural disaster, and what is it like now? Ideas. Those are some things that you could be looking at. So, our rubric for this unit is going to be very similar to what we've seen before. Our one main point that we're focusing in on, though, is your use of the imperfect, which is, like I said, something you will be focusing on later when we do our heavier focus on grammar. So then some of the themes we're looking at is this, the ability to listen to and talk about describing past memories, past experiences. So it's the understanding when others talk about it, write about it, as well as being able to produce some of your own. Okay, so you should be able to do more when you're listening and reading than with your production. Except for the writing. The writing you should be able to produce at a higher level than your speaking and your person to person. That's going to be a little delayed. So here we have the suggested vocabulary once again that is available to you to follow. And then once again, so we're looking at an imperfect verb. I want you to, it's a fairly easy conjugation verb form. So being able to understand how to conjugate it, I do want you to be able to have down before the end of the year. Knowing when to use it versus the preterite is going to be more difficult. So with this, that's kind of, you're going to look at, okay, what's at least one example of when it's going to be used over and over again versus the multitude of reasons why we use it, which we'll talk about more later on. We're looking again also at indirect object pronouns, which we have seen previously. And then the preterite, we really want to get that beefed up as well. The preterite, I need you to know that it is for the past, and I need you to have some of the common irregular verbs down, which is primarily what we're going to review again here. And then you definitely need to know the endings for the regular preterite. Whether or not I'm not expecting you to use it perfectly by any means, but I need you to know what those endings are and when they're used. So that's a little bit about where you should be with this. So notice that there's variety with that. Some things you should have down a little better. As usual, we have the tu plan. Remember how to do this and make sure that you are, there's the example again of what I'm looking for. Oh, look, I'm wearing the same shirt. But then, of course, you're going to submit that. Our discussion this week is going to be very different because you needed to add your Proyecto del Transporte to a class website. We're going to actually go back in there and look at that. So here's one of those that gives you an opportunity to think about, look at what others are doing and more of their completed projects from last semester and some people's that's carrying over the two, or units, not semesters, I apologize. But also it's a way to kind of start thinking about where is there ideas for moving backwards, or how can I also improve my project, not copy from, but get ideas from somebody else's project. Now to get in there, and so you're going to be talking about ¿Qué aprendiste? What did you learn? Okay, the link is here. Haz clic aquí para repasar los proyectos y necesitan leer uno o dos de los proyectos that you're going to focus in on. Now there's a kicker to this. I think I have to move myself. Yes, I do, because I'm kind of blocking this. There we go. When you come in here, you're not going to be able to access this. But if you come down to the right corner, you're going to see the edit this page button. When you click on that, that's going to open everything up. And now you're going to have access to everyone's. A few of you I have contacted because I need you to go back into your project itself, not back into this page, but to the project itself that you tried to embed in here or link in, and make sure that you have made it viewable to anyone with the link. Anyone with the link. That's the only way that everybody in our class can see it, because not everybody is in Jefferson County. So up here we have a variety of, we can see people's names. Ignore my ejemplo. Notice there's more over here, so we can look down. And we have everybody's first and last, or first initial last name. So look through a couple of those, and that's what you're going to refer back to for our discussion. And then you have another hablar entry, and that is basically this week's work. Okay, so in your plan, make sure that you are reviewing other people's projects in order to participate in the discussion, as well as start doing your research on a past. What used to be? What is that that you want to focus in on that will tie into one of your previous projects? So you're not creating a brand new question anymore. You're adding more detail, more depth to something that you've already done. Okay, that's your goal for this week, and to carry on through the remainder of this last unit. Mándenme cualquier pregunta que tienes y nos hablamos más adelante.